I'm Major Tom Young, and I'm standing in front of an F-117 stealth fighter today here at Grissom Air Force Base, where we're participating in the 1992 Air Show. We're currently based out of Holloman Air Force Base with our stealth fighters. We recently made a move from the Nevada desert at Tonopah Test Range, where we've been stationed there for over 10 years. This airplane was conceived in the late 1970s. It first flew 1981 and became combat ready in 1983. The Air Force built this under a black program, which means it was not announced to the general public until 1989, when we announced that we had built 59 aircraft, and then displayed to them in 1990 at Nellis Air Force Base. Essentially, the airplane gets its stealth technology and its stealthiness from twofold. It's number one, the design. If you notice behind me, the aircraft is built with many faceted flat plane designs in there. There's no curved surfaces essentially in the aircraft. And basically what happens is a radar looking at the aircraft will have the energy bounce off it and deflect off into the atmosphere away from the radar operator that's on the ground expecting returned energy. That's only one part of the equation though. The other part of the equation is the skin around the aircraft. This is a metal aircraft, however it's wrapped with a material. It's kind of like a rubber latex, and it's a thin material, but what we call it RAM, radar absorbing material. And essentially what this does is literally receive the radar coming at the aircraft and does not release it back into the atmosphere. It holds it like a sponge would water perhaps. With this combination, we can bring our radar cross section, that's basically what a radar operator is concerned with when he's looking for aircraft, down to a minuscule or a minute number. As far as the general design of the aircraft, essentially it was built around the bomb bays. That was where the initial design was first conceived, and the bomb bays are located between the main landing gears. The doors swing down and you have two separate bays. They're about 20 feet long, 4 feet high into the aircraft. That's where we load up our bombs. And like I said earlier, we put essentially two 2,000-pound laser-guided bombs into those bays. So we can essentially hit two targets, or we can hit one target with two bombs. The aircraft design also includes a lot of off-the-shelf technology, and we took landing gear off the F-15, we took flight control systems off the F-16, and a few other aircraft to put it together real quickly. And then essentially with the computer technology as to how to make it fly, that was basically a last consideration. The first consideration was to make it stealthy. And everything you see on the aircraft, on the outside skin around it, as far as design, is to decrease the radar cross-section. When you have covers like the canopy has to go up and down, it basically overlaps on top of the rest of the aircraft. By making jagged edge and sawtooth design, you're increasing the stealthiness of the aircraft.
And now for the slow speed pass, the Stealth Fighter.
We have two infrared acquisition and detection systems. We have a turret, and we call that ball, which is located right underneath the cockpit, a turret. Essentially, these infrared acquisition systems allow us to find targets in the dead of the night where operational we do all of our flying. And they have a resolution that's incredibly clear. We have a TV scope in the front that produces the images that we're looking for as far as finding targets. And we can see cars going down the highways, we can see individual buildings, and as you get closer you can start to break out windows in buildings, air conditioner ducts, and essentially find the specific point on the building that you want, which helps us to have the precision bombing that we have. These infrared systems also have lasers in them that help designate that target, so when we let go of our bomb, essentially the bomb is just looking for the designated point on the ground where that laser energy is, and it flies to it. Looking back toward the exhaust area, you'll notice you don't see a discernible exhaust per se from conventional type aircraft. What we're really looking at as we look along the back side is about 11 feet of, it's actually a curved lip, and the exhaust is rotated out from behind the aircraft along that entire surface and upward. And what we're doing is we're dispersing heat, because anytime you generate heat on an aircraft, you're developing a more prominent signature also, and that's one of the things we want to avoid, is not only the radar cross-section but also the heat generation. So what we really have is we have an exhaust that expands across the entire back side of the aircraft, and it only sits about 4 to 5 inches high. Okay, so it's kind of like a long rectangle, and it also incorporates a little bit of space shuttle technology. There are ceramic tiles back there to help with the heat dispersion also. The airplane's very enjoyable to fly. You become more of a systems manager than you do a hands-on pilot. The airplane flies itself essentially. The throttles, the airspeeds, the altitudes, and the directions are all controlled automatically by the computers when we engage those. So essentially what I do is I monitor to make sure that the aircraft is operating normally to get me to the target area. When we participated in Desert Storm, we do not go supersonic. We are a subsonic aircraft, but again, if you can't be seen by radar, you don't need to go fast. We participated in over 1,200 sorties. Essentially, 42% of the strategic targets that were tasked by the Allied forces were covered by our aircraft. We deployed out of southwest Saudi Arabia, which required air refueling going into Iraq and also coming out of Iraq. So the missions were approximately 5 to 6 hours long. The tankers over here at Grissom were instrumental in supporting us. And in fact, we invited them over to Tonopah Test Range for a get-together this last summer of 1992 for just the handshakes and getting to meet them face to face. So it was a really nice reunion.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the stealth fighter coming in for a landing.
There is a mystique about the aircraft, and I believe a lot of it has to do with the radical concept that we tried to incorporate into the airplane. Essentially, it's a fighter aircraft. It has a lot of off-the-shelf technology in it, but on the other hand, it's a precision capability combined with the fact that you just absolutely cannot utilize radar against it makes it a viable weapon system unlike any we have in the inventory. It's designed to surgically remove point targets that are heavily defended, and essentially when you combine that with nighttime operations, you are completely invisible to the world. That is what makes it different than any other aircraft.